it's not my fault you're never in the set, because it's just not enough space here for you to show up all the time. And you're always breaking. Why are you always breaking? Hey guys, it's Crusty Old Crow. Just thinking about what I'm gonna do to get a better crow. Seems like the only place I ever see this crow is at the dollar store right around Halloween or just after. And while it was awesome to have it for a background prop because I am the Crusty Old Crow, it's more of a raven. I need to get it. I need to get a better one. He keeps snapping, and just either fix him up. I gotta do something with you, don't I? I really do. Where does he fall in my projects list? Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. Sorry, Crow. But you don't gotta go, but there's something that's gotta be done. Hey guys, yeah, so it seems like I'm doing these daily right now. Just because I have the time to do them daily. And plus I am getting ready to do a trip to England in March here. So I'm trying to grind off some projects and tie up some loose ends. And today's video is going to be me going over my Lifeline character and getting stuff ready for that. You'll see that going on. But I also want to talk about some stuff that came up over the last 24 hours that I think maybe I need to do a video about it, I guess, and just quickly address it so that we all are on the same page, I guess. Well, no, we're all on the same page, but I'm getting excited about the interactions I'm having with you guys, and I want to explain why I'm getting excited and where I want that to go for the channel, okay? So, really quick shout out to Loki Wartooth. Buddy, I owe Loki Wartooth a lot more than what I've given him in some of these videos. My camera work has been horrible. So, to start this off, I'm going to put down my shadow tracker, and we're going to have a good look at some of the parts that Loki provided that I painted up, because there was some hype for Loki Wartooth last night. Man, we did it, guys. Our channel, but probably more Aaron's channel, we have done what we wanted to do, which was show off some Loki Wartooth stuff, because the guy's stuff and the guy's the way he goes about his passion is through his 3D prints, and he gets really fired up when people share that passion with him. So he really wants to do for everybody what he's been doing for me, right? Which was inspiring me and giving me access to the things that make my creativity, I guess, what it is. So let's get some of Loki's key stuff here that I was really, I think needed more focus. And it's going to feel like I'm trying to show off what I did, and it's not. I'm trying to pick the parts that I got from Loki Wartooth that really made the day. And yeah, I think I've got some good examples here of where Loki Wartooth really shined with his 3D parts, and just helping me work through some concepts as well. And I'll tell you right out the bat, like you guys know. Okay, so how it went down is me and Loki talked, and he wanted to plug some parts, but I didn't want him to just send something and not get anything back, right? So I said, well, why don't we work out something? And he's like, well, I could use some figs. I said, okay, I'll send you some figs. So I sent him some figs, and then he sent me an absorbent amount of 3D printed parts, which we've seen. You guys see how I'm like, oh, these heads and this gun and this, these chest rigs and these belts are from him, right? But right now, as I'm going, I'm only using select parts, right? I just don't have the momentum. So you're only seeing so much of the catalog. Conversely, because my channel is different than what Aaron the Toy Maker does, Aaron is across the board working several different mediums, right? And some of the stuff that he has ordered through other people, including Loki, isn't always going to be immediately seen on his channel the way I'm trying to kind of show you little peeks here and there. My projects are much faster. I get them out quicker, and I don't do any video editing. So that's why, guys. So here is, let me Let me bring the camera down. I'm just going to put something down so we can get it at level, because I really did feel bad about the shoddy camera work the other day I did for that video on Shadow Tracker. Introduce. You know what I realized? Actually, it's from going into all these chats, right? I go into chats like the one I did last night with Aaron the Toy Enhancer. We were just sitting around talking about toys. Every Tuesday night, we either talk about toys, open some toys, do stuff like that. I thought it was trivia night last night. No, he got my parcel way earlier than I thought he would. So I watched him open that. That was cool. I mean, like, it was just some cheap, not cheap, but stuff, bargains I found. And Aaron, he appreciates bargains the way I appreciate bargains. These aren't expensive commitments or anything like that, but we do seem locked in a war of sending each other stuff, and I would like to put an end to that. That's not the intent, but Aaron is very much like me. We just do kindness for kindness. But again, we were talking to Loki Wartooth a lot last night, and a lot of guys became aware of him, same as Tony Figs got exposure on Punk. Well, Aaron, with his 1,000+ subscribers, congrats again to him for hitting that last week. He was giving Loki some good airtime, but he couldn't show some stuff because not everything is ready to go, right? And his channel, like I said, his projects are grander and they take longer. So here is the Shadow Tracker and some other guys that Loki helped me bring about, and I'm just going to give a bit more exposure to that. Okay, so Shadow Tracker. The big one on this one is the helmet, or the head. Sorry, well, that camera angle did not work the way I thought. I am going to elevate this just by hand a bit so I can do this favors. So the head is definitely a Loki Wartooth print, and it's from Model Misfits 1138. I should say that's what he's under Instagram. That's how you're going to find him in his catalog. So he sent me a bunch of heads, guys, and this one, I was like, I know this is the Shadow Tracker, but Shadow Tracker is a character I knew nothing about. And so that's what I really enjoyed about this random selection of parts that Loki did. And Loki, that is one of my suggestions to you, bud, is maybe have an introductory, just random assortment bag that you have at maybe a grab price, just a discount price, to kind of bring in those new customers at a low price while giving them a random assortment of heads and vests like you did with me. That was amazing, because what you end up doing is you end up getting guys really turning some gears. Either they don't know what it is, or they know exactly what it is, or they hadn't thought of that yet, right? That was what a lot of mine was. I hadn't thought of that yet, Loki. So Shadow Tracker, I hadn't thought of that yet. And then the fun was, well, let's think about it. And you saw, I had a blast, and the plans kind of came out of that. It was, well, now I want to improve my Arctic line. I'm going to improve my Arctic line. Uh-oh, now I don't have enough Cobra for it. But, the potential of the Shadow Tracker head that Loki Wartooth printed off and put in that random bag. So yeah, with that one, it's got a combination of the Jason Voorhees hockey mask and something a bit more. I would say it's more like the operator, what should we call it? Hard armor face masks that, like going with the Call of Duty-esque kind of armor characters. It's got a lot of that, but the face paints they've had on it and before, like with the classified line, it's got that weird translucent skull, which I can't get behind. It just, I don't know. There's something about that. It's like, okay, well, is he magic now? And I get it. If he is tied to some sort of mysticism from, you know, tribes and things like that, that's fine. But I couldn't find anything clearly defining that on a file card he had from his introduction earlier in the line. So Loki, there you go, buddy. I really do apologize for the shoddy camera work that's been happening and recently or consistently with doing one takes. But yeah, definitely wanted to put some more light on Loki's head there. And that is the face paint I went with it, like I said, in the other video. And I guess maybe it wasn't as visible because of the crappy camera work. For that face paint, I wanted to do something a little tribal looking, but very Arctic looking. And I don't know a lot of tribal stuff, but I did look at one particular picture I looked at for that. And I'll call it up. Here, I'll just angle this up while I get things ready for the Lifeline talk and show you a couple more in the background there of his stuff. Let's get that. Hopefully, let's just elevate it by this way. There we go. Ad hoc problems, ad hoc solutions, guys. And a crow's all about cutting corners. You've seen that. You can see that in the quality of all my work. But no, I wanted to show you, there was an inspiration into the face paint and why I kept it that simple. And it was just because I was thinking, you know, this is my northern hunting version, and the I'd say the Northwest Territories or Nunavut or Alaska up to the caps, right? And I was like, okay, if I'm going to have this Inuit weapon style going for him, which I talked about in the other video, and it fell within the arcs of the character, that I wanted to find some sort of face paint. And while I do understand the difference between First Nations and Inuit, and where the geographics and different tribes have different things going for them, I didn't have the time or really need to get too deep into it and say, oh, he's got to have this specific tribal look. I just wanted to get an idea of what a face paint was achievable for me, and I just went with this painting, and I was like, yeah, it's not quite, there's a lot of symmetrical to it, but there's some imbalance to it, so I had some options. If I left it symmetrical, everything balanced, like, what I mean by that is if there's a mark here, there's a mark here. If there's a mark here, there's a mark here. Then if I could sustain that, that's great. Then I leave it like that. But if I'm having problems with that, then I have that freedom to change it and go, well, the imbalance was also allowed. That gives you like this opportunity to do a quick cover up. I didn't have to do it with them, but it was there. The eyes are, there is a blue wash in the eyes, but across the front, I did do like a gray strip, kind of like, you know, like, I don't know, like the old war paint that had just a solid black line, like what they were trying to do with Flint for Tiger Force at some point. And then I just did the eyes with a blue, it's a blue metallic paint and then a white metallic paint. And the reason I did that is because I don't have necessarily all the means to capture polarization of lenses on sunglasses, but these are the two paints I used combined with a wash to kind of get the eyes to shine a little bit and maybe have a bit of depth. I don't know if I've achieved it, like I said, but again, that's a Loki Wartooth head, guys. Another one, sorry, there's my Trip Deuce. I didn't make it a big enough deal, but I'm going to do a little bit more customizing to him, but he stays with him at all time. I kind of like my bad buddy cops there. This is another one that Loki has in the market that I know a lot of guys would want, because everybody kind of wants a hooded commander and everybody's got an interpretation. I will tell you right now, having looked at quite a few of the hooded commanders heads on the 3D print market over the last year, Loki's is probably the one I would recommend the most, in that you don't have to deal, you already know because I'm showing you, you don't have to deal with any ball joint issues because it is the hooded commander. Why would you have to? You know, you're only going to get so much head movement for a hooded commander that still works with the position of that hood, right? If you tilted his head up, you'd have to have a different hood. It would be draping down wrong. So this is a very solid piece. Like I said, this is one that I know guys should be after, and I wanted to give another look at it for Loki's sake, because like I said, more people tuned in last night. They're learning about Loki. More guys will be watching that live throughout the day, listening to it, maybe on their way to work in their cars and things like that. Aaron's got a good subscriber base, and I think things are working. Loki's going to get some good business out of this, but not from shitty camera work. All right. And then, of course, you guys, I think the camera work was fine, really, for Big Brawler from the Tiger Force, but that gun and that head are both from Loki Wartooth, as well as that vest, right? So there's a display of 3 different items. And guys, I have a ton of other items that I'm going to be trying to put out that belong from the Loki Wartooth catalog. So I think I have done my due diligence to correct the shitty situation I've created for myself by not doing proper camera work when I am trying to promote somebody else. It's different when I'm promoting my own crap, but when I'm actually, there's another stakeholder in there, and I keep forgetting that, right? Like, of course, he wants to see his products displayed because it gives him hope that his business is doing well, and if it is, it should be. So, you know, there's a lot of patience on Loki's part to see these pieces go, and we understand, Loki, absolutely, buddy. And we know that you also understand too. It's like, yeah, you are definitely going to get some work from us and things like that. But just remember, certain projects take a little bit longer, and when you're working a channel, it's all about content, bud. All about the content. And some guys kill it, and then there's me. Okay, so let's quickly talk about Lifeline before I get going here, because I'm going to probably have her done pretty quick. It's something I've been working on in the background, but I just want to quickly tell you about the reason I do it. And guys, if you like my conversions, if you like seeing me show you stuff like that, and you know, explain what the character is, where I got it, and maybe do stuff like this where I put the camera down and I just have a day of painting and I talk to you about what I'm doing, what's going on, little tips and tricks like that. Maybe we talk about some relevant news and some gossip and things like that that are relevant to Joe or the toy tubing that we are doing. You guys got to hit that like, share, subscribe. That's what I'm getting at, because that's how I'm going to be able to get this channel up to 350 quicker. 350 is where I got that contest. I get you a brand new Joe based off a conversation I have with you, and I go looking for it here up in Ottawa based on what's available. I also make you one of these conversions that I'm doing, maybe based off your entry in my 350 contest. You'll see it if you go through the channel, 350 contest. You just go in there, enter, subscribe. I got a new entry there last night. I got to go check it out and read what the new entry was. I was happy to see somebody else went back and looked at it. So yeah, feel free to do that. You can also feel free to do what others are doing. I'll talk about this later, but send me emails with pics of your Joe stuff that you want me to know about, like conversions and things you were thinking about or concepts. So what you're seeing me do right now is I am working on my Lifeline character. Okay, I talked about that in a separate video a couple of times. I am a big advocate of the idea, my own created idea, that Lifeline was exposed a little wrong. Okay, this is the original Lifeline I had. I got this in a trade with my buddy James. I can't remember what I traded for it. It wasn't a character I liked, but he liked it. And I was fascinated with this clearly medical guy, right? So Lifeline in the cartoon is portrayed as this big pacifist, and in the comic, the same thing. There he is, arming the tomahawk, bitching the whole time. And I talked about this before. I was like, that was the low-hanging fruit plot point of Lifeline, right? Is so they've got the Geneva Convention where they've kind of blurred that line. So they say because he's a medic, he shouldn't be in combat, and therefore we'll make our characters adverse to taking lives and things like that. No. Fuck no. It doesn't work like that, okay? We need you armed as a medic to defend your patient, okay? In a combat role, okay? It's not like we're just pulling a paramedic off the street. Everybody's secondary duty is an infantry up here, okay? And when we attach a medic to a section, they are a part of that section. If they're attached to an infantry section, they're a part of that infantry section. They're the ones we're looking at when things go wrong to help bring our buddies back to the rear lines so we can save them. But they have to defend the casualty, okay? If they themselves are in peril, they have to defend themselves. So Lifeline just never worked for me as a character wherein Sheen was a pacifist to that level. And then to find out that that was kind of the same theme that was going with Doc and things, I wasn't happy with that. But it is what it is. I mean, you got to remember, I fully understand. This is rooted in a cartoon, in a toy line. You got to bring these things down and make them comprehensible for kids. That was your in, right? But as we update the line, the conversation should always correct certain things, right? So Edwin Sheen, to me, is Lifeline Sheen. That's the driving point about this, is that I think Lifeline should just be a shared generic call sign like Steel Core. Because I think the medical cadre supporting a network like Joe, with the amount of sub-teams they have, there should be several medics attached. Yeah, you see Lifeline and Tiger Force, that's how we know, you know, he might come out with the Tiger Paw or something like that. We see it, and it's like, okay, so he's Tiger Force and he's Reg Joe. So he's a non-combatant in 2 areas and bitching and moaning about it. Okay, so he does it in the jungle and he does it on standard missions. That's one busy medic. He's busy, man. What's he go like? Who's the QRF medic? Who is night? What I noticed is I didn't see a Night Force medic, a Night Force version of Lifeline. So he's only so busy, right? And of course, I wouldn't be surprised if there was someday a Ninja Force version of no Ninja Lifelines. But yeah, the long and the short of it is, I think Lifeline should just be the call sign Lifeline and then the last name of the medic using it, right? So I decided I was going to make my own Lifeline Cross. So their last name was Cross, right? For my RDC, which is the Canadians that I'm trying to throw as customs into a Joe unit because I do believe in joint task force. And that was just my way of expressing things. So I'm starting it off with, there's a 3 kit bash going on here. I am such a fan of that Yelena Belova head. I don't care if everybody knows that's what it is as soon as they look at it. I'm hoping the rest of the figure kind of makes that more palatable, I guess, that I'm just not even trying to hide that it's that figure. I might do something with the hair to change maybe the tone, but I don't want to make it black. I don't want to repaint all the hair. No way. Even the lips, I'm looking at the dark lips and I'm like, yeah, I'm not even going to fuck around with hair. Maybe I will. Maybe, but I don't want to. But maybe. You know, that's the obsession, right? Does the model eventually dictate that I do that? But there was that hair and I was like, this is a wicked head. I want to use this head. So I'm going to tell you how I'm going to put this all back together, because now that it is all primed and it has the base coat, the challenges I'm going to do is I'm going to find the right amount of leg kit to put a white on this, because I want to avoid putting too much white. White over red, it's going to build up. Those layers are going to build up. It's going to suck. So while I was able to achieve a base coat hair, because I went right from this white didn't have any red under it, it had base white, and I built the red up over it. What I'm going to end up doing here is the white is going to be the adds. Now I'm going to have a couple of tricks I want to try here, and so that's why I'm going to start throwing it back together. So the kit bash at play, I talked about Yelena. Clearly this is a Scarlet torso. I think this one's from my Steel Core set. Is it? Or yeah, it's probably my Steel Core. Yeah, it would have to be. I think I only have that one really going. The rest of them were Lady J. So the other thing I had the other day, well, a while ago you saw, was I have an extra CoverGirl set. So my Lifeline's getting her own, you know, unique jacket. You know, I talk about features. I needed to have features for certain characters. If I'm going to put twists on them, I want to have features, right? So I'm going to slap it all back together after the video. But what I wanted to tell you was, what I'm going to do before I put the legs on, I'm just going to focus on getting this part done. And then I'm going to add the colors and everything like that as I go. Build that area up. And I'm going to snap those CoverGirl arms back in there, right? So first thing with the CoverGirl arms is I'm going to deal with that shoulder piece that has the Wolverine emblem on it that we all like, right? And remember, this is an extra CoverGirl I got because I wanted that tablet, and I needed some female body parts because not a slasher film version. I am a conversion version, but anyways, so we're going to do that afterwards. So I'll have the brown jacket on the Lifeline, but how am I going to break in some white is I've got some decals I'm going to try and use. And the big one I'm really happy with is having the medic decal. I'm going to try it. You can't see it like that. It's white, guys. But trust me, it just says medic. And now I've dropped it. Oh, and now the parrot's got it. No, I don't have a parrot. Why did I come up with parrot? Interesting. All right. My psychosis goes strong. No, what it is these got rescue on his leg. And while I don't have a rescue one like that, medic, I think will look good on there. I also have some medical crosses in varying sizes and shape. Now, the jacket's not really going to work for me putting it on them, but I will be able to work it in on some of the kit I'm working on. So I'm kind of playing with two concepts on the kit right now. Don't worry, she'll have a gun to defend herself. Rule number one. You know, at some point, somebody over at, I think it was his tank, realized that, yeah, this whole pacifist won't fire a gun stuff just doesn't work for medics. Somebody else did that. And then they really strapped it into his wrist too, if you look, right? So we're gonna work on that, but that was the project. I'm gonna build up the Lady J pack to look more like a medical pack. That'll probably hold one of the decals, so she's identifiable on the battlefield. And we'll have the leg kind of represent that with the coloring as well. I'm thinking about different things for the shoulders. That'll get shown if I decide that. But that's how I'm going to tackle it. I'm also going to go through some of the extra kit that I have from Loki Wartooth and from other collections here. But this is what I was saying, guys. With my ADHD, I have to take projects slow because while I'm going to do that, the other thing I'm working on today is I'm going to get one thing done on the hovercraft and one thing done on the display. That's how we're going to work it. I call it my very own Spaz Lab because I can't stay consistent with working on the bigger projects. I can only stay consistent working on the figurines. So I got to remind myself to make a schedule like that. For every figurine I do, I have to do at least one piece of that hovercraft and one piece of that Cobra display. So those things are also getting done. But that came up in Aaron's chat last night, and it was a good thing. I am not a diorama builder. I like building dioramas. I built a couple, and that's actually how my channel got started and how people kind of, I guess, started off. And I apologize if when I name these big projects I'm working on, if that puts an expectation, I guess, that I will have that project done very, very soon, though clearly that's not the case. And while I blame a lot of that of having gone unmedicated with my severe ADHD for quite some time, I don't have that excuse anymore because I'm medicated again. So you guys are going to see me really trying to close out those projects as we go. Because I owe you a hovercraft and I owe you a display. I owe you a few vehicles. It's just the figures are what I'm going to be able to execute on right away, right? And again, it goes with that want, you know, always want, but what's achievable? That stuff's achievable over time. This stuff's achievable now. The dopamine release with the ADHD gives me more gratification releasing these faster. And the other side of that is I am a YouTube toy tuber who does toy reviews. And when there's no toys, I have to have content. I can talk about Joe on the side, but I got to stay busy building these as well because they're just as big a part of the content now. As I close out, guys, how am I going to slap this back together now that it's got paint on it? Clearly, I don't want to slap it in boiling water anymore, right? So, $4.99, I go and buy myself a cheap-ass hairdryer. And what I do is when I go to put the piece on, I'm going to heat, and you guys have figured this out, but if you're trying to learn it, I'm going to heat the hole that it's going to go into, and I'm going to apply some heat as I go through it, right? Like heat the hole, maybe a little bit there. It's just to get some flexibility so that the hole accepts the ball joint, right? And then, of course, I'm going to have to heat and put these pants back together. I'm not going to put the legs on until I've got the leg accessories painted the way I want it and the decal set, because I just don't want to mess with that. So maybe later tonight she'll be done, maybe tomorrow, but tomorrow's going to be a busy day for me too. I got to get going. I got an appointment I got to make because I'm an old man, and when you're an old man, that's what you do. You blather on, you make big plans, and then you go to an appointment, take a nap. Hey guys, thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much if you liked this video and you subscribed and all that, and especially if you entered that contest. And thanks very much Skullfrog and you know, Gaslands and Crimson Viper for kind of opening that gate up a little bit more for us with the sending me stuff in.
one of the things I want to do, guys, is when you send me stuff, could you please let me know if I'm allowed to share it? And if you explain how you made your stuff, am I allowed to share that? Right? I share all my secrets. I don't do gatekeeping because I never know who's watching and who takes what out of my videos, right? But if you need to keep and protect your secrets, I have respect for that. I have no problems. I just ask me not to mention it, right? Same as namings and things like that. Ask me, you know, to make sure you call me this and make sure you call that, and don't mention that that's made of that. That's my secret. Or don't tell me the secret, but do send me those photos. What I would like to do is eventually, maybe once every couple of weeks, or depending on how much of this stuff comes in, I'd like to do a video just kind of about you guys and your conversions, just kind of displaying them. I'm never going to put one of my conversions on the same video as your conversions because that feels like a comparative, whether you try to or not. It does. And I don't want to put a position on either of us. I don't want to feel bad about my products, and I don't want to deter people from sending something in if it's like a beginning project and they're just looking to, you know, express joy about it. That's what I want. I want to express joy about it. I don't care if you're a professional or you're an amateur. Get into it. Have fun. Yeah, call up Loki. He'll show you a way to have fun. Hey guys, that's it for today. I will catch you on the next whatever I do. TCCC. All right, bye.